All right, welcome to the explainer. Now, we all think we have a pretty good handle on what a healthy weight is, don't we? We kind of just accept that as we get older, the number on the scale is going to creep up. It's just normal. But what if I told you that the ideal weight for your entire adult life is actually the weight you were at age 20?
I know, right? That one idea, it pretty much challenges everything we've been taught. We're told our whole lives that gaining a little weight as the years go by is just a natural part of aging. But what if that's completely wrong? The argument from our source is that once you stop growing taller, your ideal weight is basically locked in.
That really is the big question, isn't it? If we can't just go by what feels normal for our age group, then we need some kind of objective measure. We need a tool that tells us, hey, your weight has shifted from the healthy zone into the risk zone. And that tool is something you've probably heard of, the body mass index, or BMI. It's really just a simple formula that doctors and scientists use to get a quick snapshot. It tells them if your weight is healthy for your height. Because it's not just about the number on the scale, it's about that number in context. Now, don't worry, you don't need to be a math genius for this. It's super straightforward. You just take your weight in kilograms, and then you divide it by your height in meters squared. Simple. That spits out a single number, your BMI. But this is where things get really, really interesting. So you've got this number. What does it actually tell you? You'd probably think, okay, a healthy BMI is a healthy BMI no matter where you are in the world, right? The same for someone in Mumbai as it is for someone in Milan. Well, turns out it's not. And the reason why is absolutely critical for understanding your own health. Okay, so look at this. The difference is pretty staggering. For European populations, a BMI all the way up to 30 might still be considered in the clear. But for Indian populations, the ideal is way lower, down around 21. So why the huge gap? Well, it all comes down to where our bodies decide to store fat. See, people of Indian descent tend to pack it on around the abdomen, the belly. Europeans, on the other hand, tend to store it more on the shoulders and neck. And believe me, that location changes everything. So here's the deal. Not all fat is created equal. That fat stored on the shoulders and neck, it's relatively quiet, you could say. It just sits there. But the fat stored in your belly, oh, that fat is metabolically active. It's like a little toxic factory that's constantly pumping out these harmful hormones called adipocytokines, which then go on to cause a whole bunch of health problems all over your body. You know, this brings us to an even simpler way to check your risk. No calculator needed. Just grab a measuring tape. For women, if your waist goes over 80 centimeters, that's about 31 inches, or for men over 90 centimeters, about 35 inches, that's a really clear red flag. It's a signal of increased risk no matter what your BMI number says. So when we talk about these risks, what are we actually talking about? Well, they basically fall into two big buckets. First, you've got the silent internal stuff, the metabolic issues, things like diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Then you've got the problems you can really feel, the musculoskeletal issues. You know, the aching back, the sore knees, the joint pain from carrying that extra weight. Okay, now this might be the most important takeaway of the whole explainer. Most people don't really start worrying about their weight until their knees or their back starts to hurt. But look at this. The data shows that the really dangerous stuff, the metabolic risks that lead to heart attacks and diabetes, they go through the roof with just a small amount of weight gain. The joint pain, that doesn't show up until much, much later, long after the internal damage might have already started. And that brings us right back where we started, to that idea about your weight at age 20. Our source lays out a really simple rule of thumb, the 5-kilo rule. It basically says that if you weigh more than 5 kilograms, that's about 11 pounds, over what you weighed at age 20, that's the beginning of obesity for you, even if a standard chart says you're fine. Let's make this real. Let's look at an example. Imagine a woman who, at age 20, was quite slim. She weighed just 45 kilograms, which is around 99 pounds. At that point, her body is perfectly balanced and adapted to that specific weight. Okay, now fast forward a decade. Life happens, right? Her weight has now gone up to 60 kilograms, about 132 pounds. Now, if you looked at a generic BMI chart for her height, this might still be classified as normal. She probably doesn't even think of herself as overweight. But
According to the logic we've been following, something really important has already changed. And here it is. Here's the punchline. That 15-kilogram gain is 3 times our 5-kilo limit. For her, this is the beginning of obesity. It shows that the true measure of risk isn't some generic number on a chart. It's the amount of change from your body's own unique healthy baseline, the one that was set all the way back at age 20. So our source leaves us with this pretty stark and powerful idea that reframes the whole conversation. It suggests the goal isn't just about losing weight in cycles. It's about a lifelong commitment to either maintaining or trying to get back to that original healthy weight. A really provocative thought to chew on. Thanks for joining the Explainer.